G'day guys, and welcome to this week's Garage NFT Hydroponics update. I've got a few things to go through today. We definitely have some issues in the system and I'll take you through what those are. It's been 3 weeks since my last update and I thought changing the nutrients back to my original nutrient was going to help things out, but it doesn't seem to have solved the problems. My new basil growth is still yellow and my coriander is still bolting really quickly. You can see this one has grown this kind of thick stem and it's just shot up towards the light, and these others are showing signs of doing exactly the same thing. There's a thick stem coming up in that one. There's one coming up there. This one was put in after and is looking the best, but you can see down in there, you've got this kind of central cluster of browned off leaves that are clearly dying and not ideal. The bok choy that I put in 3 weeks ago seems to be going reasonably well. This one here is the best of them and it's quite large. It's not growing particularly tall, it's quite dense. And then we've got the pak choy as well that was put into the system at the same time. It's only been in 3 weeks and it's already starting to flower in the center there. And the same with that one over there, and I haven't quite got in to look at that one over there. Now, in my last update, I suggested that the issue I was having down on this first level might have been due to the nutrient not having enough nitrogen. Now I've changed back to the higher nitrogen nutrient, and that might be causing another problem up here in my chilies. If we look up under here, you can see I've got chilies ripening already, but they're tiny, right? They're a lot smaller than I think they're supposed to be. And on this plant over here, I've also got one of these yellow ones ripening already. And again, it's too small. Now I did some Googling and I read on the interweb that chilies ripening too small is a sign of general stress. And that's probably consistent with the color of some of the new growth that I'm seeing. And these leaves are a lot more yellow than I would like. Not a good sign of healthy plants. Now, when I go back a few months looking at my older videos, I didn't have any such issues down in the level 1 with my green veg, and I've looked back to see what the differences are. And the main difference is the nutrient strength. Initially, I was running my reservoir at about a 1.7 EC, and because I've got these flowering and fruiting chilies up here, I decided I needed to up that, and I've been running it at about 2.4 for some time now. Given that this is really the only change I've made, I can't help but think maybe the stronger nutrient is causing all the problems down here. But based on what I've read, I would have expected the chilies up here to be thriving under the stronger nutrient. So I'm just not sure what's going on. And I'm coming to realize that possibly growing green vegetables down here and chilies up here is not the best combination in a single reservoir system where they're all relying on the same nutrients. If you've got any thoughts on that, I'd love to get your comments. Now, most of these chili plants are bursting with fruit and most of them don't seem to be ripening yet, which I think is a good thing because they're still far too small. But I would love to know what to change to make these chilies grow to their full size before they ripen. Previously, someone suggested that my lights were too close to the top of the chilies and that was causing them some stress. So I have raised the light significantly. Tell me what you think. Do you think that light's high enough? It should go higher? Should I dim it a little? I don't know if the light's the problem really. But I don't have a great deal of time to spend on troubleshooting this weekend. So I'm just going to do a little bit of maintenance and come back next weekend and see how everything's looking. But before I get into that, we might come down here and have a look at the seeds that I planted 3 weeks ago in these trays with cotton wool. So in here, we put a combination of bok choy and pak choy. There's actually no nutrient in there. It's just water at the moment, but we might have to add a very weak nutrient once the true leaves start growing. You can see they've all shot, some better than others, and this one in the corner, there's a little root coming out of there, but I'm not sure how that one's going to go. Now, I haven't added any water to this since we planted them 3 weeks ago, and if we look in there, there's still just a little bit of water on the bottom. And this humidity dome on top is probably largely the reason for that. In this other tray, I planted cos lettuce on this side and watercress on this side. And you can see all the watercress is shooting except, for whatever reason, this one. But that all seems to be doing reasonably well, and I'm just going to put that back, leave them with the lids on, and we'll see how they're looking next week. Once these guys get big enough, I'll be moving them into my puck propagator system until they reach a size where they can be transplanted into the big system. Now, it occurs to me that another influencing factor in the health of my plants might be the weather at the moment. I'm in southern Australia and we're in the middle of winter. These plants are obviously growing inside, but temperatures haven't really been getting up above the low teens, I would say, and they'd be getting a lot lower than that during the evenings and nights. So I'm not sure if that might be one of the factors that's impacting the plants, but there's not really much I can do to control that one anyway. Clearly not going to be trying to heat this massive garage. So I'm really at a bit of a loss as to how to handle this. I could weaken the nutrient, which might benefit the plants down here, but I can't see that that'd be good for the fruiting and flowering plants up here, or I can leave it strong and have continued issues with everything down here. Anyways, as I mentioned, I'm really time poor this weekend, so I don't have a lot of time to spend on it. I'm just going to cut the stems out of these bolting corianders, and I'm going to plant some more seeds in trays like this and adjust my reservoir, which the pH has climbed a little bit and the level's getting a little bit low, so I'll give it a top up as well. So check out this stem on the coriander. That has grown up in 1 week. It wasn't there last weekend. So that's the stems taken out of the coriander. And there's another tray of bok choy and pak choy seeds planted. I'll just stick these in here next to the others. Now I'll just top up and adjust my reservoir. So we'll just get a smidge of pH down in there because the pH has crept back up to the original pH of the water coming out of the tap at about 7.4, which is too high. I'm going to try and adjust that to just a smidge above 5.5. Oh, look at that. We've got a pH of 5.7. Perfect. Now, since we're just doing a top up, we only need to add about 100 ml of nutrient. That's the part A. I've already done the part B. So I'll mix that around and we'll take an EC reading. And the EC is at 2.3, which is good enough for me. And that's about all I've got time for this weekend. Just a quick update for those who have been asking. If you want to see how things progress, I will be posting a more comprehensive update as soon as there's some kind of progress to report. Thanks for watching. Hydroponics.